Hi, this is Billie Beene here with another U.S. News update. I have a subscribe button in the lower right corner of my screen. Thanks for like, subscribe, and share. Some of the today's date, April 26, 2024, time about 2 p.m. Texas, episode 163. Some of the things we'll be covering: second wave, U.S. silos hot, and a climate bio lockdown, and what's up with the banks and stock market, and Klaus Schwab, bye-bye, and President Trump, takedown of the deep state swamp, and we say bring it. Some of my sources are God in the Bible Patriot subscriber, Texas Tribune, Daily Mail, New York Prepper, BREITBART, JWTV, Hal Turner, Steve Quayle, Stephen Gardner, Mr. M, BB333, Pastor Paul Begley, and Mike from around the world, Beston Taylor, Real Raw News. So let's get started. Currently, our weather this week is for today is Friday through the weekend. Strong possibility of thunderstorms and rain, tornadoes, hail through this part of the U.S., including Texas. And in space weather, we had a small CME graze the Earth this morning, causing a G1 or G2 geomagnetic storm with auroras down to Canada early this morning. And now we'll talk about this, the second wave. So I recently reported, that came out initially from Hal Turner. Hal Turner, who had also received information about meteors, and we'll be talking a little bit more about meteors today. So we had an 80-foot wave documented in Antarctica by VentuskiOcean.com. that then was predicted to spread out around Africa, go from 80-foot wave to 60-foot, and possibly in the Atlantic off the U.S. coast, 40-foot waves, and then down to South America. But over time, and then we had the cover story come out from meteorologists and so on. Oh, it's a software glitch. But concurrent with that 80-foot wave coming out near Antarctica and the South Pole, we had almost immediately an anomaly in the ocean near South America, where there was documented by a buoy operated by the U.S., a sudden drop of 5,000 feet in 5 minutes. My statement and my assessment then was, I believe there was a natural phenomena going on that could be possibly linked to what's going on in space. A binary sun, Planet X, Nibiru, and so on. Something impacting our solar system and impacting the Earth. Now, Mr. M, BB333 has documented a second wave. Oh, this first 80-foot wave did dissipate, and we didn't hear anything else about this sudden drop in the ocean level near South America. I believe that there are forces going on inside the Earth. I know I received from God, fall of 2020, magma was rising all over the Earth in all directions. Pay attention to magma coming up along the tectonic plates. But that 80-foot wave then dissipated over time. And then we didn't hear anything more about the sudden drop near South America. Now, yesterday, Mr. M, BB333 documented again from VentuskiOcean.com a second wave developing, and it's located between South America and Africa, about 50 foot tall, and it was initially in the same round shape as the one we saw off of Antarctica. But then over time, moving the Ventusky model forward 3 days at a time, it is believed it will take this shape, and then it's going to decrease in the height of the waves and move up near Africa, spreading out and decreasing in wave height along the way. So we're seeing a phenomenon now, sudden high waves that move out over time, and they are circular in pattern when they appear, and then over time they're going to spread out, take a horseshoe shape, and the wave height is going down. But I submit to you, I believe this is a natural phenomena, and I believe it's linked to changes inside the Earth and out in space, and that we will begin to see this more and more often. So that's going on, a second wave, and I'll link his video for you so you can see it. Okay, now JWTV is bringing out, and I have other sources talking about the JV actor wearing a mask, masquerading as the President of the United States, could, I think that was BP Earthwatch who brought that out, say that there was a climate emergency. So the evil and corrupt U.S. federal government could obtain wartime powers and lock down the American people were awake. So that's not going to work. But JWTV is bringing this out, that insurance companies are actually putting forth a plan of how to deal with business interruptions caused by climate. Now, I submit to you the possibility that the insurance companies, possibly the government, what they're calling climate is not climate at all, but natural changes inside the Earth, and also space impact, and an impact coming up on the Earth. Now, JW was also linking it with that recent WHO pandemic treaty, and we know now they're saying bird flu is in milk, it's in chickens, it's in cattle. Shut up. Okay. But I understand, world governments are not buying the WHO pandemic treaty. So that's going on, but that's a deep state move. And JW is bringing this out, something I had not heard of. It's called a black box. It's located in Australia, and it's a collector of information. It's made of granite or stone, and it's about 10 meters long, 4 meters wide, 3 meters high. So it's pretty substantial. And in it, governments around the world are putting U.S. history, I guess some type of computer technology, and they're calling it a monolith. Now, I had a series of videos I put out 2023, maybe toward the end of 2022, monoliths, because God said, look into this. Remember when monoliths were suddenly appearing all over the earth, and they would be metal, about 6 to 8 feet tall, 3 to 4 feet wide, and have symbols all on them? In the U.S. and nations around the world and South America. Okay, so what I came out with about the monoliths, Mike from around the world, we know he works for the U.S. government, regularly on Pastor Paul Begley's Thursday night program, said the monoliths were a comms device. Jessica Ariel Morocco, who works for the ACIO, said that they were a device to synchronize frequencies, and God said 1/2 of them are real. So we see this strange new monolith taking place in Australia, and into it, governments from around the world are putting records of Earth history. What do they know that they're not telling us? Well, now we have this. So, and also Mike from around the world said in May, we could be seeing space debris coming in, meteor parts that could be impacting the whole Earth. I submit what's being mislabeled as climate change possibly could be something the U.S. governments and insurance companies are making plans for, but it's some kind of impact from space. So that's going on. Now, U.S. silos hot. New York prepper out last Wednesday, Thursday, starting about April 19 to 20, about 10 to 11 p.m. at night, and extended all the way to 6 a.m. in the morning. I was deeply disturbed by what we were hearing because it did sound real, and now we know it was real. U.S. silos were hot, and U.S. pilots all over the U.S. were receiving Skymaster, like you'd hear Gabriel, Juliet, Lima, and some numbers. And we now know from Steve Quayle that Skymaster is when the U.S. military is receiving new target data to be input into their computers on the planes for the bombs. And make no mistake about it, and a day or two before this date, Hal Turner had documented that U.S. planes in Minot had been loaded with real nukes. And then this event happened and lasted for about 7 hours. And all night long, that's what we were hearing on an open frequency that is available to the public. But the instructions to the U.S. planes are given in code. And Steve Quayle said, when you hear Skymaster, that's new arming target information for the planes, for subs, and it also opens the silos and activates the silos to also be launched. And then Steve said, and I would hear the pilots, is this real time or is this practice? And then Steve Quayle said, so Skymaster is to arm and turn on many things, silos, bombs, subs. When you hear Sky King, that is the launch data. So we never heard Sky King. We did hear all night long, Skymaster, Skymaster. And you could tell that these speakers giving out these coding information were really juiced up. So now Mike from around the world said, on this date, April 19 to 20, the U.S. came within minutes of a nuclear exchange. So this was a for real, in real time event occurring all over the U.S. U.S. military planes and subs and silos were being activated to be in a position to go hot. Now, no information is coming out of who this would have been launched against. Was this possibly to be launched against Iran? Was Iran going to retaliate against Israel? Because information's now coming out. Israel, like last week, tried to nuke Iran, causing an EMP. And when their F-35 was over Jordan, they were shot down by Russian military plane. Was Iran irate about that and going to strike Israel? And let's not forget, Iran has strategic bombs, that's heavy-duty, powerful bombs, located in Venezuela, that can reach 90% of the U.S. And Iran has said, if Iran is attacked by the U.S. military, then Iran will attack the heartland of the U.S. with these missiles located in Venezuela that can reach all of the U.S. except Washington, Oregon, and Northern California. So, I say to my family and friends, it's good that we remain in prayer. And I do want to emphasize that this, according to other sources now, so I have Hal Turner and Mike from around the world, and Steve Quayle in some context, verifying that this was a real-time event that happened last week. So, yeah, so that's going on. And now we have this. Now we'll talk about the illegals. Texas Intel. What's going on there? We still have the evil and corrupt U.S. federal government allowing illegals and CCP and Iranian military too, we understand, to invade the U.S. So we have this. We have certain states. We have Florida. We have Iowa. We have Oklahoma. We have Louisiana. We definitely have Texas. We have Georgia. So, and also Tennessee and New Hampshire, of all places, passing laws that illegals can be arrested. No duh. And currently there's a lawsuit being filed by, according to BREITBART, by an organization representing American citizens against illegals, filed a lawsuit against ICE, who wants to hide the identity of the criminal illegals who are coming across the border. Remember that criminal illegal in Georgia who murdered that young nursing student, Laken Riley? Yeah, we have a shadow part of our government who's hiding the identity of, bring in the criminals, sure. We want to let them kill American citizens. The American people are waking up. And we have this, yeah. So I brought out in my recent video, and this is also coming out from multiple sources. So the number of illegals who are able to get into Texas has dramatically dropped, 60 to 70%. But oh, it's going up in Arizona and California. So illegals coming in move from Texas to easier border to get in, where the Dem governors don't put up fences to protect their citizens. So in San Diego, in the first 3 weeks of April, we had 25,000 illegals coming in who were apprehended, and also discovered was 154 pounds of cocaine, 238 pounds of meth, and 37 pounds of fentanyl. Yeah, these criminals are not coming in empty-handed, are they? And we're hearing those horrifying stories now in New York City that if you want to go to a Home Depot, pick the one that has armed guards. The ones without armed guards, you go to that Home Depot, you're going to be assaulted by illegals. Okay. Now we have this. So now we're going to talk about banks and stocks and the stock market and what's going to happen in May and June. We have some indicators. So from Hal Turner, clearinghouse for bonds, stocks, and derivatives are being given a public warning by that regulators, this comes from the U.S. Treasury Department and other stock exchanges and banking institutes around the world, that the clearinghouse for bonds, stocks, and derivatives could fail. And they're putting this out. They may have to do a bail-in. Now, with just regular banks, a bail-in would mean they're going to steal American citizens' money from their bank accounts, or in Europe, European citizens. But in this case, the bail-in only has to do with the liquidity of a clearinghouse for bonds, stocks, and derivatives. In other words, it's separate from U.S. and European banks. Well, certain commercial banks could be involved, but it's not going to impact citizen accounts. But this is coming out that I believe an indicator that these predictions we're hearing in May and June for a possible shutdown of the U.S. stock market that would affect all stocks and bonds except investments by pension companies. So that's going on. It's a G20 watchdog group who's put out this warning. And so that's going on in the U.S. and in Europe. And also this is coming out. There's a possibility that this lack of liquidity by stock markets could be related to the attempt by the U.S. to seize billions of dollars in frozen assets from Russia. And so Russia is now saying they're going to seize $440 million invested by JP Morgan inside Russia. So we see governments playing chicken with our stock market in the U.S. and in Europe. So that's going on. BREITBART is bringing this out. 13 banks in the U.S. Had responded to requests from the U.S. evil and corrupt current U.S. federal government from the FBI to track American citizens who are donating money to President Trump's campaign or buying mega hats and coffee cups through their bank account. And some of these banks, it was 13 major banks, including Bank of America, Chase, Wells Fargo, Citizens. Also, the FBI asked they want these records too, from Schwab, from PayPal, from Santander, Standard Chartered, and Western Union. Do you think that this is not a big brother society? Yeah, we want to track citizens who are spending their money for Republican candidates. Yeah, we're seeing them also, put up sham courts. And all right, now we have this from Real Raw News. So we can say bye-bye to Klaus Schwab, who passed from this world, no doubt, to one that's hot and fiery. And I think he passed in the afternoon of 4/19/24. Now, do we think this passing date relates to that possible nuke bomb attack on the U.S. for which we saw our silos go hot and our pilots being given new targeting data? I mean, the dates do correspond. At any rate, Klaus Schwab had been arrested. He was arrested on 4/19 by Delta forces and forces from the ACIO out of Australia. And he passed on April 24. So he was arrested on April 19 and he passed on April 24, 2024 in a naval hospital in Guantanamo Bay, Cuba, a U.S. military prison. He was in the hospital. He was having organ failure and severe withdrawal from his addiction to the red drink. He was placed in a coma almost as soon as he was hospitalized. And the doctors told JAG, and they also told President Trump, that he was a vegetable. He wasn't going to recover and be able to stand trial. And so, you know, when brain activity reaches a low or non-existent wave activity, when the body is simply being kept alive mechanically with a breathing apparatus and tubes for feeding, so on. The person has passed, in my mind. They've already passed. So at any rate, this information was given to JAG, can't stand trial. It's unlikely. And so President Trump made the decision to stop the mechanical apparatus. And then Klaus Schwab did pass away Wednesday, April 24, 2024. So we see President Trump, recognized by 90% of U.S. military as being commander-in-chief, giving the order to pull the plug. And now we have this. Okay, we've been seeing these shadow fake states and governments, and courts, bringing fake charges against President Trump. Now we have a new one in Arizona. They want to charge President Trump, his former chief of staff, Mark Meadows, several Arizona senators, other individuals associated with the Republican Party going back to 2020. The state of Arizona has jumped on the bandwagon with Georgia and New York and Florida. There's a case going on in Florida against President Trump now too, to charge these individuals with election interference going back to 2020. This is a standard operating procedure by the Dems. Whatever they're guilty of, they put that charge on their opponents. And this came in response recently by a Bloomberg poll, April 8 to 15, that President Trump is polling much better than JB and the states of Arizona, Georgia, Nevada, and North Carolina. So maybe we should look for Nevada and North Carolina to also try to bring forth some kind of fake criminal charges, you know, a court and attorney general, district attorney operating throughout the Constitution, all forms of law, federal, state, and local. We have a charge brought by either the attorney general or the district attorney, and the corrupted judge says guilty. No evidence, no witnesses, no charges, no bail, and so on. That's what we're actually seeing with our lying eyes. And now we have this going on. Epoch Times brings out that the information is becoming public that on J6 2021, the shadow FBI was deeply involved and had undercover agents all in the crowd and were directing the crowd to go into the Capitol building. Now, some intel experts are saying this didn't just happen by the FBI. It would have had to have been in place at least 6 to 12 months before January 2021 to hire and vet the FBI applicants, or if they were already working for the FBI, to put them through vetting for this particular role of being an informant and a guider of the American people into the Capitol building, and to get them set up and trained 6 to 12 months. So that means in 2020, while the election year was going on, the FBI was already putting in place groomed undercover individuals to be in the crowd of American citizens January of 2021, and to facilitate and to bring about a pseudo riot, and then say it was the American people. Hey, these things are coming out now. Okay, we have this. Just yesterday, I believe the Supreme Court is looking favorably on giving President Trump's immunity case, saying that presidents do have immunity and that immunity would extend past their presidential term. So the Supreme Court is believed to be taking this position. They have not put out a decision yet. Most likely that today's Friday, that'll come early next week. But it is looking very positive for President Trump. And now we have this from Stephen Gardner, who interviewed Kash Patel. He was a part of President Trump's staff in his first term. That the judge in Florida, Cannon, is putting this forth, that the prosecuting DOJ attorney, Jack Smith, withheld information from President Trump's defense team. Yeah, we can hardly believe it. When they were forced, the DOJ was forced to produce documents. They said, okay, well, here's the documents, but they were all redacted. Now, Judge Cannon says, get that redacting out of the way and produce that evidence. So that's going on. It's also being brought out by Citizen Free Press. And now we have this from Fox News. You know, JB shares a characteristic with Zelensky of Ukraine. You know, Zelensky in Ukraine arrested all the Christian Orthodox priests, put them in jail, said that they were prisoners of war, put them on the list of prisoners of war to be exchanged with Russia. And Zelensky also shut down the Christian Orthodox churches, arrested the priest, confiscated anything valuable in the churches, their bank accounts, sold religious artifacts that were thousands of years old, put it in his pocket. And then Zelensky put in place a new religion based on the doctrines that Zelensky put forth, and a calendar of dates when Ukraine citizens could go to the church building. So yeah, maybe Zelensky wants to set himself up as God and be worshipped. You know, God, little g. This guy's evil. JB, the actor wearing a mask, masquerading as the President of the United States of America. He's a puppet for the deep state. Well, the deep state also wants to destroy Christian churches and Christian universities. And so, in a move by U.S. Department of Education Secretary Miguel Cardona against a large Christian university, Grand Canyon University, the U.S. Department of Education fined them $37 million, the highest fine by this Department of Education on any educational facility ever. And what was the charge? Sometimes when Grand Canyon has a PhD candidate, they don't fully explain that the PhD candidate also has to take certain courses. Evil. We see it operating. Now, I believe that we can say, thank God, we didn't go real-time nuclear and bombing, possibly Iran. I mean, that's the only scenario I can think of, that Iran was going to attack Israel. I mean, that's on the table. So we can thank God that we got past that. Now, Mike from Around the World says in May, we could have a lot of space debris coming in. I mean, large pieces of space debris that could cause fires and other things. That's in May. And in June, we have several sources talking about problems with the stock market, problems with the deep state trying to juice up World War III, and so on. So we need to be in prayer. Here's a short prayer. America. This is based on America the Beautiful, written by Bates and Ward. May our skies remain forever clear and blue. May amber waves of grain ever fill our plains. May pilgrim feet ever seek our shores who are aligned with God. And we ask, Father, God bless America, beautiful place of patriot dreams and a brotherhood from sea to shining sea. And we say thank you, God the Father, God the Son, Jesus, whom many call Yeshua, and God the Holy Spirit. I say to my family and friends, remain steady out there, continue to pray. God is in charge, and He is on the move. I love you, and I'll see you soon.